Welcome students of Form 1. This video is about being a good leader and it's based on chapter 2, paragraph 1, part 4, titled A Good Leader. So take this in front of you if you didn't do that already. And what are the learning outcomes? The learning outcomes that you can find in this specific paragraph, the learning outcomes. In this section, you will identify the essential qualities. So what does he or she need of a good leader? Which qualities does a good leader need? Yeah, and this is the learning outcome of this paragraph. And the verb, the learning verb is identify. Yama, name, give the essential qualities of a good leader. And we're going to talk about those. And again, we're talking about part 4 of paragraph 1 of chapter 2. So take that in front of you if you didn't do that already, actually. These learning outcomes is what you have to know when you have studied this paragraph properly. Yes? Let's look first at effective leadership and let's look at authority. So most groups need one or two people to take on a leadership role. Most often it's one, sometimes it's two people. They are the leaders of the group. This often involves organizing and coordinating other people's actions. Let's say you are in defense, you are a mid-center, you are a defender while playing football, or you are a batter, you are a catcher when playing baseball. So they divide the tasks in the group. In other words, they coordinate the actions of other people. If members feel that the leadership is ineffective, and ineffective meaning not effective, so in here means ineffective. If the members of the group feel that the leadership is not effective, or if they're not being listened to, they will not be motivated to take part. So effective leadership, being a good leader, will also have the effect of motivating the people in your group. So that has a positive effect actually. So if you're like Vicentini of Canada, who plays pretty well, football coach, or if you are another leader, motivation is key. Authority. Those people in leadership roles, so for instance, football coaches, within a group need to have a certain amount of authority. The people in the group need to listen to the leader. This means that other members of the group, like the young lady here, give them the right to make certain decisions on their behalf or ask them to carry out certain actions. So a leader also has to have a certain credibility. The people in the group have to give them the authority, the power to make certain decisions on their behalf. You give them a certain amount of power to take decisions for you. And in English, we call this on their behalf. Or to ask them to carry out certain actions. So if you have a leader, being it Gilmar Pisas, or being it a girl from a friend group, or being it someone from the office, like you can see here, whether it being the prime minister, whether it being at the office or in a friend group, the group needs to give them a certain amount of power on their behalf, and we call this authority. As that is one aspect of a good leader. If the authority is misused in any way, or if a leader fails to use the power to address an issue, so if he isn't effective, actually, if he doesn't solve things, then problems may arise that need to be solved. Yeah. So the leader really needs to solve certain issues to be an effective leader. Yeah. And he also will lose some of his authority, which is important because a leader needs to have people that listen to him or her actually. Yeah. And this also you can say about Trump. Over a lot of people, President Trump beginning in January 2025, has a lot of authority. People find him credible, and some people listen to him. So he has a lot of authority, you could say, over a lot of people in the United States of America. And same goes for Gilmore Pisas. But problems may arise if he doesn't know how to solve certain problems. So he has to address problems, he has to solve problems, else issues may arise. So this is very important for his effectivity, being an effective leader. And if he is not effective, people will lose their motivation to take part in the group. So as long as President Trump or Gilmar Pisas also keep solving problems for Curacao, making better roads, making education better, uh, putting the taxes on an acceptable height, then people are motivated to be in the group of Gilmar Pisas or President Trump. Same goes for sports leaders. Perhaps you know, you don't know, in the Caribbean, cricket is a really big sport. And also there you see Captain Jason Holder. Also in cricket or in baseball and football, when a leader is successful, and in sports, being successful means winning of your opponent, then the group is motivated. As you can see in this picture, people are happy, giving each other a high five. Success, effective leadership creates motivation, and motivation is very important in the group. Qualities of a good leader. A person has to have a range of qualities if he or she is to be an effective, efficient leader. We already saw effectiveness, and we also saw a certain degree of authority. Besides that, a good leader has to be able to communicate clearly. Yeah? So if a leader is effective or efficient, that's a very important quality. And what must a good leader be able to do? He must be able to communicate clearly. Communicating means people have to listen to you, and you have to bring the message in a pleasant way. So you're way too young to experience President Obama, but he was a very communicating president. He had a very pleasant voice. He still has, and people listen to him. Same goes for those of you who play football. If you have a team captain, this team captain has to be able to communicate clearly towards the group. And if you have a class leader, he has or she has to sometimes communicate messages to the rest of the group. He or she has to be able to communicate clearly towards the rest of the group. So a good leader must be able to communicate clearly. That's a very important goal. He or she has to be able to communicate hopimaskla. This involves making clear the goals in Metalan, the objectives of the group, and also explaining the kinds of behavior expected of group members. Yeah, so the objectives of the group and the behavior of the group, as you can see former President Obama here explaining. Communication is also about listening, like you can see in this picture. This person is clearly listening. And a good leader must be able to hear the views and ideas of members of the group. So this person is talking, and this person is now listening to that other person. So communication is also about listening, and a good leader must be able to hear the views and leaders of group members. So communicating is not just about sending out messages. Communicating is also about receiving the ideas and suggestions of other people, actually. Yes, communication is also about listening, and a good leader must be able to hear the views of other people. A good leader also needs confidence. Yeah, you have to have confidence in yourself and your ability. Boa habilidad nan, yeah, confiar para mes. O mes confiar para mes y bo habilidad nan. Yeah, and es aquí ta duna bo miembro e grupo confianza también. It will give your group members confidence too that you will succeed in your goals. Yeah, bo mes tem confianza para mes y bo habilidad nan. In maniera aqui bota duna confianza pa il gruppo, i membro nan di gruppo tambe. Also, tambe bo mester tin inspiration. This will give inspiration to your group members. So if you have confidence, so like this lady seems to have, so this lady seems to have a lot of confidence. She also shows it. And if you have confidence, you also will inspire, wat te inspira, bo miembro dan, bo grupo. So you have to show that you have inspiration, so also your group will have confidence in themselves. That's very important. Also, in dealing with group members, you have to have honesty. Yeah, bo mester honesta. Yeah, you have to be honest towards your group members, and you must be able to believe, confiar, tem fé, dimbo líder. O mester confiar, dimbo líder. O mester tem fé, dimbo líder. Yeah, you have to trust him or her, and you have to be honest. Yeah, that's very important that you have that. And the third point that I'm naming actually is that you have to have trust in him. That's actually the second one. And the third one, you have to have the ability to delegate, which allows them to identify skills, attributes, and abilities within group members and allow them to carry out their rules. So a leader shouldn't do everything by themselves. It's important that the leader that do tasks para otro miembro dan di grupo aqui. Because the leader cannot do everything by himself. And without this ability to share the different goals, yeah, so you have the leader, and the leader gives this person this task, and this person this task, and this person this tasks. This ability to delegate that we saw here. So you give certain tasks to other group members. Without this ability, the leader will find that he or she tries to do too much, and you will not be able to cope all the things you have to do by yourself. And if group members are never trusted to carry out delegated duties, they may feel demoralized, they may feel bad, nangta senti notabong, and they will not feel valora, dinge grupa aqui. Now, nota senti valora, dinge grupa aqui. They will not feel valued. Valued significa aqui valora. Senti valora is kita hopi importante dinge un grupo. Yeah, senti valora, feeling valued. Un sentimiento valora, the feeling of being valued, ta hopi importante ting tur grupo na. Feeling valued is a very important aspect in a group, actually. So we've seen feeling confident will inspire other group members. It is very important. Trusting your leader is very important. And third, yeah, also the ability to delegate certain tasks is very important toward other members of the group. Vamos delegar tasks, vamos encargar otro miembro nan para un grupo, para un job aqui. Yes, aqui, that's very important because the other group members will feel valued. Valora. Yes, aqui, tá hope importante em um grupo. So the leader here will delegate other tasks to other members of the group. And the delegating part in papimento da delega, literalmente, of encarga. Other tasks, otro tarea nan, pa otro miembro em um grupo aqui. E tem papiamento e palavra e verbo aqui tá delegar ou encargar. Tá, palavra não hoop mais importante. And then they will feel valued, and valued significa em papiamento valorar. Bota senti bomes valorar que ora bota receber tarea para ele. Yeah? Isso aqui é muito importante. You'll feel valued if that happens. Bota senti valorar. Okay, we've seen the ability to delegate, and if he or she doesn't, you won't be able to cope, and you feel less motivated and inspired within the group. And without this ability, you won't be able to cope, and you will be chaotic, and you won't be able to carry the weight of all of the tasks. Commitment, which will help him to persevere if situations or circumstances presented. Yeah. So you will have to have commitment. You have to commit yourself to the task. That's very important. Escrita significa obligación, obligar, o promesa. Yeah. You have to feel a certain amount of obligation or commitment towards the goal of the group. Isso aqui está muito importante. Você sente uma obrigação, você sente uma promessa. You feel connected towards the goals of the group. And third, creativity. If you don't have creativity, you will not solve the problems of the group, because the issues that arise, el problema nan, tamester di creatividad. Because sometimes the issue is very complicated and you have to think of new ways to solve the problem. Solve, tem papiamento, significa também resolver. So, também, vou mostrar tem criatividade para resolver o problema durante ding em grupo. Ja? Solve significa em papiamento resolver. Yeah? So to solve issues, like you can see here in the picture, sometimes needs creativity para resolver problema. Okay, this was a video. It was a bit longer than I expected, so sorry about that. The learning outcomes were identify, name, give the essential qualities of a group leader. If you have questions, you can ask them below. If you want to be informed of new videos, please ring the bell. And I really hope you found this video very, very helpful. Look at the learning outcome. If you have questions, ask me during class. And I wish you a very nice day, morning, afternoon, and evening. And if you have questions, do not hesitate to ask them, please.